Are you unknowingly missing the subtle, quiet signs that could indicate a loved one has only months left to live? This is a difficult question, but one of the most important we can ever ask. In the next several minutes, I will reveal 7 silent warnings that medical professionals at world-renowned institutions like Johns Hopkins and the Mayo Clinic say consistently appear up to 6 months before the end of life. This knowledge isn't about losing hope. It's about gaining a profound and compassionate understanding that could help you provide better care, navigate difficult decisions, and make every single precious moment count. The 7th sign, in particular, is so commonly overlooked that even experienced nurses can sometimes miss it, yet hospice specialists consider it one of the most reliable indicators of the final chapter. Consider the story of Barbara from Arizona. She noticed her 80-year-old husband, Michael, seemed different. He was quieter, more distant, but she couldn't pinpoint exactly what had changed. It was a feeling more than a fact. 3 months later, doctors confirmed that Michael had entered his final stage of life. The signs had been there all along, whispering their quiet truth. She just didn't know the language. Today, we learn that language together. Sign number 1. Dramatic changes in sleep patterns. One of the first and most significant shifts occurs in the rhythm of sleep and wakefulness. When an elderly person suddenly starts sleeping for 15 or more hours a day, or conversely, becomes completely restless and wakeful at night, their body may be preparing for its final transition. This is not the ordinary tiredness that comes with aging. It is a fundamental biological shift in how the body manages energy and consciousness. This change often happens gradually over several weeks, which makes it incredibly easy for families to dismiss as just normal fatigue or a passing phase. But research from Harvard Medical School's geriatric division shows that these end-of-life sleep pattern changes are deeply significant. They occur because the body, in its innate wisdom, begins to conserve massive amounts of energy, redirecting it from everyday activities toward only the most essential life-sustaining functions. Simultaneously, the brain itself is undergoing neurological changes that directly affect the sleep-wake cycle. Dr. Susan Pierce, a hypothetical expert from Harvard's gerontology department, might explain it like this. Think of the body as a city preparing for a blackout. It starts shutting down non-essential services, the streetlights, the parks, the libraries, to keep the power running to the hospitals and emergency services. Increased sleeping during daylight hours, combined with that frustrating nighttime restlessness, creates a very specific pattern that medical professionals recognize as significant. The brain's natural circadian rhythm, our internal 24-hour clock, becomes profoundly disrupted as various body systems begin their slow, natural shutdown process. Take the case of Henry from Tennessee. His family first noticed he was napping constantly during his favorite afternoon television shows, something he never used to do. Within a few weeks, he was sleeping nearly 18 hours a day, yet he would be wide awake and agitated most of the night. This created a cycle of exhaustion for both Henry and his loving caregivers. His daughter initially attributed this to boredom or depression, but a compassionate medical evaluation revealed the truth. His body was entering its end-stage processes. What this means for you as a caregiver: if you ignore these dramatic sleep changes, you miss crucial opportunities. You miss the chance to adjust care routines, to speak with palliative care specialists about comfort measures, and to simply understand the journey your loved one is on. Instead of feeling frustrated by the disrupted schedules, recognize this as a signal. Create a calm, restful environment. Use dim lighting. Play soft music. Don't force them to stay awake. Instead, cherish the quiet moments of wakefulness whenever they may come. Understanding this isn't a behavioral issue, but a biological one, can transform your approach from one of stress to one of peaceful support. Sign number 2, a progressive loss of appetite. For many, Food is love, family, and connection. So when a loved one begins to refuse food, it can feel like a personal rejection. But the progressive loss of appetite in the final months of life is a deeply natural and expected process. It often starts with a disinterest in their favorite dishes, the ones that once brought them so much pleasure, and can progress to a complete disinterest in eating altogether. Mayo Clinic's end-of-life care specialists report that this appetite loss occurs because the digestive system, a huge consumer of the body's energy, begins to slow down as part of the natural dying process. Dr. Jennifer Morales, a specialist in this field, explains it with profound clarity. The body's metabolic needs decrease significantly during the end stage of life. It simply doesn't require the same amount of fuel. As a result, previously enjoyed foods can seem unappealing or even cause discomfort. This isn't depression or stubbornness. It is the body's wisdom preparing for its final transition by redirecting precious energy away from digestion and toward more vital functions. Think of Eleanor from Michigan. For 60 years, her Sunday family dinners, crowned by her famous homemade apple pie, were the anchor of her family's week. When she suddenly started pushing away her plate after just 2 bites and stopped asking about dessert, her family knew, deep down, that something profound had changed. Within 2 months, she had lost 15 pounds, despite her family's loving but misguided efforts to encourage her to eat. A medical evaluation confirmed she was in her final months.
What this means for you as a caregiver. Ignoring these appetite changes can lead to immense family stress. You can waste precious time worrying about calorie intake instead of focusing on comfort. Medical professionals stress that recognizing appetite loss as part of the natural progression is key. Shift your focus. Offer small portions of favorite foods, but without pressure. A single spoonful of ice cream, offered with love, is better than a full meal forced with anxiety. Keep their mouth clean and moist with ice chips or a wet sponge. The goal is no longer nutrition. The goal is comfort, dignity, and honoring the body's natural process. This understanding allows you to spend your time holding a hand, sharing a story, or simply being present, which is far more nourishing than any food could be at this stage. Sign number 3, increasing social withdrawal and disengagement. When someone who was once the life of the party, a social butterfly, suddenly stops calling friends or shows no interest in attending family gatherings, it may signal much more than just depression or a temporary mood swing. This withdrawal often represents a natural psychological preparation for the end of life, where an individual begins turning their energy inward, gently disconnecting from external relationships and activities.
This change can be one of the most surprising and painful for families, because it seems to contradict the person's lifelong social patterns. It can feel like a personal rejection, but it's not. It is a protective, self-preservation mechanism that helps people prepare for their final transition with less emotional turmoil. They are not pushing you away. They are gathering themselves for a profound internal journey. Franklin from Ohio was a perfect example. He attended his weekly poker games with the same group of friends for 25 years. He never ever missed his grandson's baseball games. When he suddenly stopped returning phone calls and began declining family invitations with a simple, "I'm just not up for it," everyone assumed he was just having a bad month or was upset about something. It was 6 months later that medical professionals confirmed Franklin's body was preparing for the end of life, and his social withdrawal had been one of the earliest and clearest indicators of this natural process. What this means for you as a caregiver. Missing these signs of social withdrawal prevents families from understanding their loved one's emotional needs. It can lead to feelings of hurt and rejection. Healthcare providers emphasize that recognizing this pattern helps families provide appropriate emotional support without pressuring their loved one. Instead of saying, "You have to come to the party," try saying, "We'll miss you at the party, but I'd love to stop by for a quiet 10-minute visit tomorrow if you feel up to it." Offer low-pressure opportunities for connection. A brief phone call, a shared moment of silence watching a sunset, or simply sitting in the same room can be more meaningful than a loud, overwhelming gathering. Focus on the quality of your time, not the quantity. Reach out today with understanding and patience, because these quiet moments of connection matter more than you can possibly realize.
Sign number 4. Unusual confusion or mental changes. The sudden onset of new confusion, seeing or talking to deceased relatives, or experiencing sudden personality changes can be one of the most unsettling signs for families. These mental changes can include vivid, detailed conversations with people who have passed away, profound disorientation about time and place, or dramatic shifts in personality traits that have remained consistent for decades. These changes may come and go, creating periods of crystal clarity mixed with episodes of deep confusion. Cleveland Clinic neurological studies show that these end-of-life brain changes often occur due to decreased oxygen flow to the brain and significant metabolic shifts that affect cognitive processing. Dr. Patricia Wallace, a neurologist from the clinic, explains a crucial point. These neurological shifts often create deeply meaningful, comforting experiences for the dying individual. The visits from deceased loved ones, for example, often provide immense comfort and reduce fear during the transition. Our research indicates these experiences serve important psychological functions and shouldn't be dismissed as mere hallucinations or a sign of insanity. Vernon from Florida began having detailed conversations with his deceased wife, Martha. He would describe her presence in the room, what she was wearing, and relay messages she wanted to share with their children. His children were initially terrified, fearing dementia or a psychiatric break. But they noticed that between these episodes, Vernon remained perfectly clear about current events and family matters. A compassionate medical evaluation revealed these experiences were part of his natural end-of-life process, not a sign of cognitive decline.
What this means for you as a caregiver. Your reaction is everything. When families don't understand these mental changes, they often panic. This can lead to unnecessary trips to the emergency room or aggressive treatments that are not appropriate or beneficial at this stage. Instead, respond calmly. Do not argue or try to correct them. If they say they see their mother, don't say, "She's not there." Instead, ask, "What is she saying? Does she look happy?" Enter their reality with them. It is a sacred space. Document these episodes to share with the hospice or palliative care team, but your primary role is to provide reassurance and love, not to be a reality check. Sign number 5. A rapid decline in physical strength. When a loved one suddenly needs help with basic tasks they easily managed just yesterday, you must pay close attention to this significant change in physical capability. This isn't the typical gradual weakness of aging. This is a fundamental and often rapid decrease in energy and strength that profoundly affects activities of daily living. This weakness can progress dramatically over weeks or even days, creating startling changes in independence. Findings from the American Geriatric Society demonstrate that this end-of-life weakness occurs because the body is reallocating all its resources. Dr. Robert Carlisle explains, the body begins to break down protein reserves from the muscles to support essential organ systems. It's a biological prioritization of resources. This creates a rapid strength loss that far exceeds normal aging patterns.
Carmen from Texas was fiercely independent. She could walk to her mailbox and tend to her small garden until last spring.
Then, suddenly, she needed assistance just to get out of her favorite chair. She couldn't lift her coffee cup without her hand trembling. Her family initially thought she needed better nutrition or more exercise. But a medical evaluation showed her body was entering its end-stage processes, causing this rapid muscle weakness and energy depletion. Within a month, she needed help with dressing and bathing. What this means for you as a caregiver: safety becomes the #1 priority. A fall at this stage can be catastrophic, accelerating decline and creating a cascade of complications. Make safety modifications immediately. Install grab bars. Get a shower chair. Ensure clear pathways. Most importantly, accept their need for help. Do not push for an independence that is no longer safe. Your focus must shift from rehabilitation to comfort and safety. Helping your loved one with dignity as they perform daily tasks is an act of profound love. Sign number 6. Changes in breathing patterns. Irregular breathing. Periods of rapid breathing followed by slow breaths, or unusual breathlessness even during rest, are significant indicators that should not be ignored. These breathing changes often include long, alarming pauses between breaths, apnea, shallow or labored breathing, or new gurgling or rattling sounds. These changes may be subtle at first, but typically become more pronounced over time.
The National Hospice Foundation identifies these specific breathing pattern changes as highly reliable indicators of end-of-life progression. Dr. Linda Mendoza from the Foundation explains why. Respiratory function is a direct reflection of overall body system status. As the heart and lungs work less efficiently, these breathing irregularities occur. They represent the body's natural adaptation to decreased energy and organ function, not necessarily an acute medical emergency that requires aggressive intervention. Raymond from Georgia developed a new, distinct breathing pattern. He would breathe rapidly for several moments and then very slowly, with long, unnerving pauses between breaths. His wife noticed this especially during his afternoon rest periods, when he seemed to struggle for air despite not being active. A consultation with a palliative care team revealed these breathing changes indicated Raymond's body was entering its final stage and required comfort-focused care, not aggressive respiratory treatments. What this means for you as a caregiver: the sound of labored breathing can be terrifying, but understanding that this is a natural process can help you remain calm. Your calm presence is the most comforting thing you can offer. Ensure your loved one is positioned comfortably, often with their head elevated. A cool, humidified room can also help. Report these changes to your medical team, but focus on providing reassurance. Holding their hand and speaking in a calm, soothing voice can ease their anxiety and yours. And finally, sign number 7, the desire to resolve unfinished business.
This is the sign that is so often missed, yet so profoundly important. When an elderly individual suddenly expresses an urgent desire to give away specific possessions, make long overdue apologies, or have important, difficult conversations they've avoided for years, you must listen carefully. This urgent need to settle affairs goes far beyond typical estate planning. It represents a deep psychological preparation for the end of life. This desire often includes distributing small, meaningful items to specific people, a need to reconcile damaged relationships, or an urge to share important family stories or information they've never discussed before. Hospice care specialists nationwide report that individuals nearing the end of life experience a strong, innate drive to complete this unfinished emotional and practical business. Dr. Amanda Foster, a hospice specialist with 30 years of experience, explains its importance. This behavior serves a vital psychological function. It allows individuals to achieve a sense of peace, control, and closure before their final transition. Our research and experience show that people who are able to complete this work often experience a more peaceful death. What this means for you as a caregiver is that your role is to be a facilitator of peace. Support these conversations. Help facilitate connections with people your loved one wants to contact, even if those relationships have been strained. Assist with the practical arrangements for distributing possessions according to their wishes, without questioning their timing or motivations. Listen, truly listen to the stories and information they want to share, recognizing these conversations as the precious final gifts they are. Honor these requests today, because tomorrow may be too late. Recognizing these 7 signs doesn't mean giving up hope. It means providing the most loving, informed, and compassionate care possible during life's final chapter. When families understand these natural processes, they can shift their focus from fighting against biological realities to cultivating comfort, connection, and making every single moment meaningful. This knowledge empowers you to support your loved one with dignity and peace, while creating precious memories that will comfort you and your family for years to come. If you have noticed any of these signs in a loved one, please consider sharing your experience in the comments below. Your story is not just your own. It might be the key that helps another family recognize the important changes they are witnessing right now. Like this video to help other seniors and their families access this crucial information. And subscribe for more essential guidance that could make a real difference in your family's life. Share this with anyone you know who is caring for an elderly family member, because this knowledge could help them provide better, more compassionate care during life's most precious final chapters. Thank you for being here.